Caltech Department of Physics, Sub-Basement Laboratory. 2:47 a.m. Dr. Sheldon Cooper stood before a contraption that looked like what would happen if a particle accelerator, a Radio Shack clearance bin, and a desperate eBay addiction had a child together. His hands were positioned in what he clearly believed was a dramatic, scientific pose. "Gentlemen," he announced to his three colleagues who looked significantly less enthusiastic about the 3 a.m. experiment, "we stand on the precipice of revolutionary discovery. My quantum alignment oscillator will prove, once and for all, that localized dimensional harmonics can be manipulated through controlled resonance fields." Leonard Hofstadter, his roommate and longest-suffering friend, rubbed his eyes behind his glasses. "Sheldon, we've been over this. Your math is theoretically sound, but practically—" "Ah, yes, practically," Sheldon interrupted with air quotes that somehow managed to be condescending. "The last refuge of the mediocre mind. Leonard, practicality is simply what we call theory before we've had the courage to implement it." "That's not what practicality means," Leonard replied wearily. Howard Wolowitz, perched on a stool and wearing a turtleneck that screamed, "I'm going to do science and possibly get laid," in that order, adjusted his belt buckle. "Guys, can we just do this? I told my mom I'd be home by 4 for her colonoscopy prep." "That's way too much information, Howard," Raj Kuthrapali said, clutching his stuffed dinosaur Sedgwick a little tighter. "Also, I'm terrified, just putting that out there. This device looks like it could explode and kill us all." "It won't explode," Sheldon said with absolute certainty. "It will create a precisely controlled quantum bubble that will allow us to observe dimensional membrane fluctuations in real time. The worst-case scenario is a localized temporal loop lasting approximately 3.7 seconds. "And the second worst-case scenario?" Leonard asked. "Complete atomic dissolution. But that's only a 0.003% probability, so barely worth mentioning." "Barely worth mentioning," all three friends said simultaneously. "You know what? I'm out," Howard said, standing up. "I can't die tonight. I haven't even gotten to second base with the new barista at the campus coffee shop." "You're never going to get to second base with her, Howard," Sheldon said matter-of-factly. "She's categorically out of your league. Now, shall we proceed? Leonard, initiate the primary field coils. Raj, monitor the quantum flux indicators. Howard, since you're almost leaving, you can activate the power supply." "Why do I have to do the dangerous part?" "Because you're an engineer. Pushing buttons is literally your entire professional skill set." Howard opened his mouth to protest, found he couldn't really argue with that assessment, and sullenly moved to the power controls. The quantum alignment oscillator sat in the center of the room, humming ominously. It was constructed around a small particle accelerator component they'd borrowed from the physics department's storage, surrounded by what appeared to be several Arduino boards, some very expensive-looking crystals that Sheldon had purchased from a suspicious website, and enough copper wiring to build a small Faraday cage. And behind it, forgotten and dusty, was something else entirely. Years ago, Caltech had received a decommissioned Stargate as part of a military surplus donation, a conversation piece for the physics building lobby that had eventually been moved to storage when no one could figure out how to mount it properly. It now sat against the far wall, covered with a tarp, completely forgotten by everyone except the janitor who occasionally complained about how heavy it was. "Leonard, are you seeing these readings?" Raj asked nervously, watching his monitoring equipment spike. "The quantum flux is already off the charts, and we haven't even turned it on yet." "That's impossible," Leonard said, checking the displays. "Unless there's some kind of ambient field interference." "There is no ambient field interference," Sheldon snapped. "My calculations are perfect. Howard, activate the power supply. Now." Okay, but if I die, I'm haunting you, Howard muttered, throwing the main breaker. The oscillator hummed to life. At first, nothing seemed wrong. The crystals began glowing with a soft blue light. The particle accelerator core started its characteristic whine. The Arduino boards blinked cheerfully, processing data in their simple microcontroller way. Then, reality started having opinions. Guys, Raj said, his voice climbing several octaves. The quantum flux isn't leveling off. It's increasing, exponentially. That's theoretically impossible, Sheldon said, but he was frowning at his tablet. No, that can't be right. The readings suggest we're not creating a localized bubble. We're creating a bridge. He paused, calculating. To somewhere else. Somewhere else, Leonard shouted over the increasing whine of the machinery. Sheldon, what does that mean? I'm not entirely certain. This is unprecedented, fascinating. The tarp covering the old Stargate began to flutter, as if caught in a wind that didn't exist. Then it flew off entirely, revealing the ancient ring of metal beneath. What the hell is that? Howard yelled. Oh, that's just the old Stargate the military donated years ago, Sheldon replied absently, still studying his readings. Completely non-functional. Interesting that the quantum field is interacting with it, though. The ring's composition must be resonating with... The Stargate activated. Not the way Stargates normally activated. No dialing sequence, no computer control, no carefully calculated destination. Just raw, chaotic quantum energy flowing from Sheldon's oscillator into the ancient ring, forcing it to do something it hadn't done in years. The event horizon exploded into existence with a whoosh that sent papers flying across the room and knocked Sedgwick from Raj's startled hands. "Shut it down," Leonard screamed, grabbing for the emergency cutoff. "No," Sheldon shouted. "We need to observe the phenomenon. This is incredible. We've accidentally created a quantum bridge using resonance harmonics. Do you understand what this means? It means we're all going to die," Howard shrieked as equipment began sliding across the floor toward the swirling blue vortex. Technically, it means we're experiencing directed gravitational attraction through a stable Einstein-Rosen bridge, Sheldon corrected. Death is merely one possible outcome. A particle accelerator component came loose from its moorings with a metallic crack and flew toward the gate. "Everybody down," Leonard yelled. But it was too late. The gravitational pull had reached critical mass. The oscillator, still active and pumping quantum energy into the Stargate, was now acting like a cosmic vacuum cleaner. Raj went first, sliding across the floor on his back, too terrified to even scream, grabbing futilely for purchase on the smooth laboratory floor. "Rage!" Howard yelled, lunging for his friend's hand and getting pulled in himself. Leonard tried to brace himself against a workbench, but the bench itself started sliding. "Sheldon, the cutoff! Or hit the cutoff!" "But the data, we haven't collected sufficient data. Sheldon!" "Oh, very well," Sheldon huffed, reaching for the emergency cutoff switch. The lab stool he was standing on tipped over. Dr. Sheldon Cooper, three-time Nobel Prize hopeful, winner of the Stevenson Award, and arguably one of the most intelligent theoretical physicists in the world, tumbled toward an unstable wormhole with the kind of undignified flailing usually reserved for cartoon characters. "Interesting sensation," he shouted analytically as he flew through the event horizon. "The subluminal particles are creating a distinct tingling across my..." The Stargate shut down with a whump that left the laboratory in sudden smoking silence. The emergency cutoff had finally triggered. Too late. 4 theoretical physicists were gone. Sedgwick lay abandoned on the floor, a silent witness to the worst, just one more experiment in Caltech history. Stargate Atlantis, gate room, same moment. 39 million light years away, shields at 30%. Rodney McKay screamed over the sound of the city taking a pounding from Wraith weapons fire. We have maybe 10 minutes before catastrophic failure. Colonel John Shepard stood at the gate room railing, coordinating the defense with the kind of calm that came from facing extinction. So many times it was basically a Tuesday. What about the ZPM? Can we reroute power from... Already tried that. The ZPM is depleting faster than predicted because of the quantum interference from the Wraith weapons. Basic physics says we're screwed. I don't accept that assessment, Rodney. It's not an assessment, it's math. The Stargate exploded to life. Not on command, not with a dialing sequence, just activated, seemingly on its own, with a dialing address that made absolutely no sense. What the hell? McKay stared at his tablet. That's not a valid address. That's not even a real address. The gate was locked for incoming wormholes. Nothing should be able to... 4 figures tumbled out of the event horizon with all the grace of drunk toddlers. They landed in a heap on the gate room floor, just as another Wraith weapons blast struck the shield, sending tremors through the entire city. The first figure, a tall, thin man with a distinctive haircut, looked up, adjusted his glasses, and said with absolute seriousness, "Fascinating." The gravitational coefficient within the wormhole was approximately 1.3% higher than predicted by standard general relativity. I wonder if that's a function of the intergalactic distance or... "Identify yourselves," a Marine shouted, rifle raised. The 4 scrambled to their feet, or in Howard's case, didn't quite make it, instead choosing to remain in a protective crouch. "I'm Dr. Sheldon Cooper, BS, MS, MA, PhD, and SCD from the California Institute of Technology," Sheldon began, seemingly oblivious to the dozen weapons pointed at him. "This is Dr. Leonard Hofstadter, experimental physicist." "We don't have time for this," McKay yelled. "Who activated the gate?" "And this is Dr. Rajesh Kuthrapalli, astrophysicist, and Howard Wolowitz, aerospace engineer." Another explosion rocked the city. Everyone ducked, except Sheldon, who continued, "Though I use the term engineer loosely, as he mostly designs equipment for bathrooms in space." "Sheldon," Leonard hissed, frantically looking around at what was clearly a city under attack. "Where are we? What is this place?" "Oh, yes, good question." Sheldon looked around, taking in the impossibly advanced ancient technology, the transparent shield showing battle raging outside, the armed military personnel, and nodded appreciatively. Based on the architectural design, the obvious ancient origin of the technology, and the fact that we just traveled through a Stargate, I deduce we're in the lost city of Atlantis, in the Pegasus Galaxy, approximately 39 million light-years from Earth. "Impressive." Everyone stared at him. "How did you..." McKay started. "Seriously, who are these people?" Shepard demanded, descending the stairs. "We're physicists," Leonard said desperately, hands raised. "From Caltech. We don't know how we got here. There was an experiment. An experiment that successfully created a resonant quantum bridge through a decommissioned Stargate," Sheldon clarified helpfully. "Quite remarkable, really. My calculations were correct, though I admit the destination was unplanned." "Did you just say you accidentally dialed the Atlantis gate?" McKay's voice had climbed to a register usually reserved for dolphin communication. "Well, accidentally implies a lack of intentionality, which is technically accurate." "I wet myself," Howard suddenly shouted, still in his crouch. "I'm in space, being shot at by... What are those things?" "Wraith," Shepard said automatically, then caught himself. "Wait, you don't know what? How do you not know about the Stargate program?" "Because we're theoretical physicists, not applied alien-fighting military personnel," Leonard said. "We work with equations and particle accelerators, not..." He gestured wildly at the battle outside. "That!" Sheldon was already walking toward the nearest control console, peering at the displays with fascination. Your shield harmonics are approximately 23% less efficient than optimal. Have you considered implementing an anisotropic distribution pattern? The current configuration is causing unnecessary power drain in the— "Get away from that!" McKay yelled, running over. Another blast. More tremors. Somewhere in the city, alarms were blaring. Dr. Elizabeth Weir's voice came over the radio. "John, what's happening in the gate room?" "We're reading an unauthorized incoming wormhole." "Yeah, about that," Shepard replied, looking at the 4 terrified civilians. Well, 3 terrified and 1 fascinated. "We have a situation. 4 civilians just came through the gate. From Earth." A pause. "From the SGC?" "No. From Caltech. Apparently they built something." A longer pause. "I'm coming down. Don't let anyone touch anything." "Too late," Shepard muttered, watching Sheldon already gesturing at McKay's tablet. "Way too late." Raj, who'd been silent throughout all of this, finally found his voice. "Are we going to die? Because I feel like we're going to die. And I'd really like to know if we're going to die so I can begin preparing my final thoughts, which primarily consist of regret and terror." A massive explosion outside sent everyone stumbling. "Yeah," Shepard said dryly, steadying himself. "We might be dying. But on the bright side," he looked at the 4 newcomers, "at least you'll die in the Pegasus Galaxy. Very exclusive." "That's not comforting," Leonard yelled. "Wasn't trying to be." Sheldon, meanwhile, had already started explaining to a seething McKay exactly what was wrong with his shield configuration, completely ignoring the fact that the city was literally under attack by space vampires. It was going to be a long day in Atlantis. Atlantis, secure conference room, 5 minutes after arrival. The conference room shook as another Wraith energy blast struck Atlantis's shields. The lights flickered, casting shadows across 4 terrified physicists who sat at a table designed for intergalactic diplomatic negotiations, not impromptu interrogations of civilians who'd accidentally traveled to another galaxy. Colonel John Shepard stood at the head of the table, arms crossed, trying to maintain his usual casual demeanor, despite the fact that his city was under siege, and 4 complete strangers had somehow bypassed every security protocol in existence. "Okay," Shepard said, his voice carrying the patient tone of someone explaining basic concepts to very small children. "Let's try this again, slowly, with small words. How did you get here?" Sheldon Cooper adjusted his glasses, apparently completely unfazed by the explosions or the heavily armed Marines flanking the door. "Colonel Shepard, I don't appreciate your implication that we require simplified explanations. We're all holders of advanced degrees in physics." "Except Howard," Raj whispered. "And we can certainly articulate the quantum mechanical principles underlying our inadvertent translocation through an Einstein-Rosen bridge manifested via—" "English," Shepard interrupted. "Pretend I'm an Air Force pilot who barely passed college physics." "That's oddly specific," Leonard observed nervously. "It's called self-awareness. Now talk." Leonard cleared his throat, shooting Sheldon a warning look. "We were conducting an experiment at Caltech. A theoretical quantum alignment oscillator designed to test Wheeler-DeWitt equations regarding—" He stopped at Shepard's expression. "We were trying to make a thing that would prove time works weird in small spaces. And it worked, sort of. It created a localized quantum bubble that somehow interfaced with an old Stargate artifact we'd acquired from—" "You acquired a Stargate?" Shepard's casual demeanor cracked slightly. "How does one acquire a Stargate?" "Government surplus auction," Howard offered helpfully. "Listed as decorative stone ring, purpose unknown, heavy. Only cost us $12,000, split 4 ways." Shepard stared. "You bought a Stargate on eBay. Technically, govdeals.com. eBay has restrictions on items weighing over... I don't care about the logistics of your completely illegal purchase. Shepard's voice rose as another explosion rocked the room. I care about how you used it to crash my intergalactic emergency line during a Wraith siege. Wraith? Leonard asked. What's a Wraith? The door burst open. Ronan Dex entered, 7 feet of dreadlocked muscle and barely contained violence, his pistol holstered but his hand never far from it. Behind him, Taylor Emagan moved with the grace of a warrior who'd trained since childhood, her expression equal parts curiosity and concern. Shepard, Ronan rumbled, his voice like gravel in a cement mixer. These are the intruders. Intruders implies intentional breach of security, Sheldon corrected. We're involuntary immigrants due to unforeseen quantum mechanical interaction, entirely different classification. Ronan stared at Sheldon with the expression of a man trying to decide if something was a threat or merely annoying. He always talk like that? Oh, you have no idea, Leonard muttered. Taylor approached the table, studying each of them with the analytical gaze of someone assessing potential allies or enemies. Her eyes lingered on Raj, who immediately looked at his shoes, his face flushing bright red. These men are from Earth? Taylor asked Shepard. Apparently, the Milky Way Earth. They're civilians, scientists. Physicist, Sheldon corrected again. I am a theoretical physicist. Leonard is an experimental physicist. Rajesh specializes in astrophysics. And Howard is an engineer. The word dripped with barely concealed disdain, which is technically applied physics for people who couldn't handle the math. Hey, Howard protested, I have a master's degree from MIT. Yes, how nice. I have a PhD, 4 of them. We're not the same. Shepard pinched the bridge of his nose. Okay, I'm going to need you all to stop talking for 30 seconds while I... The room's communication panel crackled. Shepard, this is McKay. Shields are down to 27%. I need you in the control room now. We're out of time and out of options, and I'm about 3 minutes from a complete nervous breakdown. On my way. Ronan, Taylor, keep an eye on our guests. Don't let them touch anything, break anything, or accidentally destroy reality. That was one time, Sheldon called after Shepard's retreating form. And technically it was a controlled implosion of a localized quantum field, not reality destruction. Ronan sat down across from them, his eyes never leaving the group. It was like being watched by a particularly alert and dangerous large cat. The silence stretched. Howard leaned over to Leonard. Is he going to kill us? I can hear you, Ronan said. Right, of course. Super hearing. Because why wouldn't you have super hearing? I don't have super hearing. You're just talking 2 feet away from me. Another explosion, closer this time. The lights flickered and stayed dim. Emergency lighting activated, casting everything in an ominous red glow. Raj whispered something to his stuffed dog plushie, which he'd apparently been clutching since arriving. Taylor noticed, her expression softening. Your companion, she said gently, approaching Raj. It brings you comfort. Raj's mouth opened, closed, opened again. No sound emerged. His face achieved a shade of red previously unknown to medical science. He can't talk to women, Leonard explained. Selective mutism, psychological condition. I see. Taylor sat beside Raj, her voice remaining gentle. I am Taylor Emagan of Arthos. You are safe here despite the current attack. We will protect you. Raj made a small squeaking sound. Although, Taylor continued, studying him thoughtfully, I am not entirely human by your standards. I possess Wraith genetic modifications from ancient experimentation. Does this classification as not quite human perhaps alleviate your condition? Raj's eyes widened. You're You're technically an alien? I suppose by your definition, yes. Oh my God, I can talk to you. I can talk to you. Raj grabbed Taylor's hands enthusiastically. This is the greatest day of my life. Well, except for the part where we're apparently going to die in space, but the talking part is amazing. Taylor looked at Ronan, who shrugged. Earth people are weird. You have no idea, Leonard confirmed. Atlantis control room, same time. Dr. Rodney McKay stood at the central console, hands flying across ancient controls, his face a mask of controlled panic that was rapidly losing the controlled part. No, 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 he shouted at the display. That's not. Why would the power coupling? Who designed this system? The ancients, Colonel Samantha Carter replied from her station, trying to help despite McKay's increasing volume. You know, the hyper-advanced civilization? Well, they were idiots. Any competent engineer would have included redundant. He stopped as Shepard entered. Finally, where have you been? Interrogating the 4 physicists who just came through a locked gate during a siege. You know, standard Tuesday stuff. 4 physicists? McKay's voice achieved a pitch that made nearby personnel wince. From where? Caltech. They built something that activated a Stargate, somehow dialed us directly. During lockdown, which should be impossible. It is impossible. The gate has 3 layers of security specifically to prevent random dialing during emergencies. And yet, 4 guys with a homemade quantum doohickey and a government surplus Stargate just did it. So maybe add a 4th layer? McKay opened his mouth to respond, then closed it, his analytical mind clearly racing. Wait, they built a quantum oscillator powerful enough to interface with gate technology from Earth, without Naquadah generators or ZPM power. That's what they said. That's actually impressive, horrifically dangerous and irresponsible, but impressive. How did they manage power requirements? Something about a particle accelerator and eBay. McKay stared. eBay. That's what I said. Another impact. The shield display flickered, showing concerning patterns of decay. Rodney, Shepard said, his casual tone gone. Tell me you have something, anything. McKay turned back to his console, his fingers resuming their frantic dance across controls. I have several options, all terrible. Option 1. Divert all power from life support to shields, which buys us maybe 15 minutes before we suffocate. Option 2. Activate the self-destruct and deny the Wraith the city, which is dramatic but fatal. Option 3. Open a hyperspace window inside the shield perimeter to vent the Wraith energy attacks, which has a 90% chance of creating a black hole. Option 4. Is there an option that doesn't end with everyone dead? I'm working on it. McKay's hands stilled on the console, his eyes fixed on the power distribution display. The problem is the ZPM. It's depleting faster than predicted. The Wraith weapons are creating quantum interference that's disrupting the extraction efficiency. Every time they fire, the power draw increases exponentially. In English, Rodney, the more they shoot us, the less power we have to stop them from shooting us. It's a death spiral. We need to recalibrate the shield harmonics to compensate for the quantum interference, but the calculations are... He gestured at a screen filled with equations. Absurdly complex. It would take days. We have minutes. So we're dead. Unless someone figures out how to solve quantum mechanical equations in real time while the city is exploding. Which is impossible because I can't do it, and I'm the smartest person in 2 galaxies. Shepard had a thought. A terrible, probably stupid thought. But then his best plans usually were. Rodney, what if I could get you help? Smart people. Really smart people who specialize in theoretical quantum mechanics. From where? Everyone in Atlantis is already working on this. From our surprise visitors. The ones who built a quantum oscillator. McKay spun around. The eBay physicists, they're theoretical. This is applied. They'd be useless. You just said the problem is the theoretical calculations. They specialize in theoretical calculations. Yes, but... McKay stopped, his mind clearly working through the logic. But they're probably not that good. They're from Caltech, not MIT. And even if they were competent, which I doubt, they'd take too long to understand our systems and... The shield flickered again. Alarms intensified. Rodney, do you have a better option? McKay stared at the screens, at the dwindling power levels, at the Wraith Hive ship positioning for another barrage. His jaw clenched. Fine. Bring me your theoretical physicists, but if they're idiots, I reserve the right to throw them out an airlock. Pretty sure that's against regulations. So is dying to Wraith because we let unqualified civilians waste our time. I'll take that as a yes. Conference room. 10 minutes later, Sheldon was in the middle of explaining string theory to an increasingly baffled Ronan when Shepard returned with Dr. McKay in tow. And you see, the Calabi-Yau manifold compactification requires 6 additional spatial dimensions, which fold into such small scales that... Sheldon noticed the newcomers, his eyes immediately focusing on McKay with the intensity of a predator spotting prey. Ah, you must be Dr. Rodney McKay. Oh, I've read your papers. How nice, McKay said with zero sincerity. I haven't read yours because I don't waste time on purely theoretical work that will never have practical applications. My work on heterotic string theory has been cited over 3,000 times. By other theorists living in ivory towers. I keep an entire city powered with technology you people can only dream about in your little chalkboard fantasies. Sheldon stood, straightening to his full height. Dr. McKay, I have 4 PhDs, an IQ of 187, and a Nobel Prize nomination. I don't require validation from someone who plays with advanced technology he didn't even build. I have 3 PhDs and an IQ of 196, McKay shot back. And I've saved this galaxy multiple times using that technology, which is more than you've done with your theoretical contributions to human knowledge. IQ is a poor metric for actual cognitive ability. Oh, is it? Because mine is higher. Gentlemen, Shepard interrupted, his voice carrying command authority that made both scientists stop mid-argument. We're under attack. People are dying. Can we please focus on the problem instead of comparing the size of our PhDs? That's not what, Leonard started, then thought better of it. Never mind, Shepard gestured for McKay to explain. The physicist took a breath, visibly restraining himself, and activated a holographic display that made all 4 visitors' eyes widen. This is Atlantis' shield system, McKay began, highlighting the energy distribution network. Powered by a zero-point module, a device that extracts vacuum energy from subspace. Under normal circumstances, it provides virtually unlimited power. But the Wraith weapons are creating quantum interference patterns that disrupt the extraction process. Every attack degrades shield efficiency, creating a feedback loop. Within 30 minutes, we're dead. He pulled up a series of equations that filled the holographic space. The solution requires recalibrating the shield harmonics to compensate for quantum interference. But the calculations involve 11-dimensional supergravity equations that are... He paused, choosing words carefully. Complex. Sheldon was already staring at the equations, his head tilting slightly. Leonard recognized that look. It was Sheldon's "I found a mistake" look. Dr. McKay, Sheldon said slowly, your anisotropic power distribution model is using Randall-Sundrum brain world assumptions. Yes, obviously, the ZPM operates on extra-dimensional energy extraction principles. Yes, but you're assuming a positive cosmological constant in the bulk. Given the quantum interference from Wraith weapons, Sheldon gestured at a specific equation. Shouldn't you be accounting for negative curvature in the brain tension? McKay stared at the equation, then at Sheldon, then back at the equation. His expression went through several phases: dismissal, consideration, shock, and finally, grudging realization. McKay started typing rapidly. That's actually correct. The negative curvature would create a damping effect on the interference, which means if we adjust the harmonic frequency here, more typing, we could create a resonance pattern that actually uses the Wraith energy to reinforce the shields instead of degrading them. Precisely, Sheldon agreed. Elementary quantum field theory. I'm surprised you missed it. I've been under siege for 6 hours and haven't slept in 30 hours. Still, a competent physicist should maintain cognitive function under stress. I certainly do. McKay's face turned an interesting shade of red. You smug, insufferable. Rodney, Shepard interrupted again. Can you make this work? McKay and Sheldon locked eyes, two brilliant minds separated by massive egos, united by the same fundamental language of physics. Yes, McKay said through gritted teeth, but I'll need help with the calculations. The quantum resonance equations need to be solved in real time as the Wraith attack patterns change. I can't monitor and calculate simultaneously. I can calculate, Sheldon offered, assuming your systems are sufficiently advanced to keep pace with my processing speed. Our systems are ancient technology, literally, made by the most advanced civilization in the history of the universe. How nice. As long as they have adequate computational interfaces, they'll suffice. Now, shall we save your city, or would you prefer to continue posturing? McKay looked at Shepard, who shrugged. He's annoying, but he might be right, and we're out of options. Fine, but McKay pointed at Sheldon. You follow my lead. This is my city, my systems, and my crisis. You're here to do math, not make decisions. Clear? Crystal. Now, shall we begin, or do you need more time to establish dominance displays? McKay turned to Shepard. I already hate him. Yeah, we all got that. Now go save the city before I regret this decision. Too late. I already regret it. As McKay and Sheldon headed for the door, still arguing about equation precedence, Leonard raised his hand tentatively. Colonel, what about the rest of us? Shepard looked at Leonard, Howard, and Raj. Can any of you do impossible quantum calculations in your head? No, but I can do other things, Howard volunteered. I'm an engineer. I designed systems for the International Space Station. I can help with practical applications. He designed a zero-gravity waste disposal system, Raj clarified. A space toilet. It was a highly advanced space toilet, Shepard considered. Ronan, take Howard and Dr. Hofstadter to the conduit junction on level 3. Our power routing is failing. Maybe they can help. Try not to let them blow anything up. Ronan grunted. What about the talking one? I can help, Raj protested. I'm very useful. I'm excellent at moral support. Stay here with Taylor, Shepard decided. Try not to die. That's my entire plan, Raj assured him. As everyone dispersed to their assignments, the city shook with another impact. The shield display showed 22% and falling. The countdown to extinction had begun, and somehow, improbably, 4 physicists from Pasadena were now responsible for preventing it. Atlantis Control Room, 18 minutes until projected shield failure. Dr. Rodney McKay stood at the primary console, hands hovering over ancient controls that responded to the ATA gene he'd received through gene therapy. Beside him, Sheldon Cooper leaned over a secondary terminal, his fingers flying across a keyboard jury-rigged to interface with 10,000-year-old alien technology. "The subroutine is executing too slowly," Sheldon observed, not looking up from his screen. "Your computational architecture is bottlenecking at the quantum processing layer." "It's ancient technology," McKay snapped. "It's 10,000 years old and still more advanced than anything Earth has produced." "The bottleneck isn't the system. It's the fact that we're trying to solve equations that shouldn't be solvable." "Everything is solvable given sufficient processing power and intellectual capacity." "Oh, really? Then why don't you?" McKay stopped himself, took a breath, and forced his attention back to the shield display. The energy distribution showed a complex web of power flows, all slowly deteriorating. "Okay, the next Wraith barrage hits in 47 seconds. I need the harmonic frequency adjustment calculated before then, or the resonance cascade fails." "I'm working on it. Your insistence on using base 12 notation is slowing my calculations. Base 12 is optimal for... You know what? I don't have time for this argument. Just give me the numbers." Sheldon's fingers stopped moving. His eyes, which had been rapidly scanning multiple screens of data, suddenly fixed on a single point. "Interesting. Interesting is not a frequency adjustment, Sheldon." "No, but it is a pattern." "Dr. McKay, look at the Wraith attack intervals." Sheldon pulled up a timeline showing energy spike patterns. "They're not random. There's a 23-second periodicity in the bombardment. And look here." He highlighted specific spikes. "Every seventh attack is exactly 14% stronger than the average." McKay leaned closer, his analytical mind immediately recognizing the significance. "They are rotating their weapons to avoid overheating. The stronger attacks are when multiple ships fire simultaneously, which means we can predict when the interference spikes will occur," Sheldon finished. "If we adjust the shield harmonics before the spikes rather than reacting to them, we stay ahead of the degradation curve instead of constantly playing catch-up." McKay was already typing, his earlier irritation replaced by the focused intensity of a scientist who'd just seen a solution. That's actually brilliant. Why didn't I see that?" "Because you're too close to the problem. You've been managing this crisis for hours. Your pattern recognition is compromised by stress and fatigue." "Are you actually giving me a compliment hidden inside an insult?" "I'm stating facts. Your cognitive baseline is clearly above average, but sustained stress reduces optimal function. It's basic neuroscience." "I'll take it." McKay entered a series of commands. "Okay. Implementing predictive harmonic adjustment. Of frequency modulation increasing to match projected interference in 3, 2, 1. The shield display flickered. For a horrible moment, both scientists thought they'd made it worse. Then the energy distribution stabilized, the red warning indicators shifting to yellow, then green. "It's working," McKay breathed. "Shield efficiency increasing to 31%, 33, 35, 37.3, Sheldon corrected, and climbing at a rate of 0.62% per second. At this rate, we'll achieve optimal efficiency in approximately..." The Wraith bombardment hit again. But this time, instead of degrading the shields, the energy was partially redirected, absorbed into the harmonic resonance pattern Sheldon and McKay had created. 42%, McKay reported. Saw genuine excitement creeping into his voice. "The resonance is actually using their own weapons against them. We're converting Wraith energy into shield reinforcement." "Of course we are. That was the entire point of the negative curvature adjustment." "Yes, but there's a difference between theoretical calculations and actually seeing it work in the real world." "Not to me. If the mathematics are correct, the physical manifestation is inevitable." McKay looked at Sheldon, this infuriating, brilliant, completely impossible physicist, and laughed. Actual laughter. Slightly hysterical, but genuine. "What?" Sheldon asked, suspicious. "Nothing, it's just, you're possibly the most annoying person I've ever met. And I work with Colonel Shepard, who once ate all my blue Jell-O despite explicit labeling. I fail to see how food theft relates to our current situation." "It doesn't. It's just—" McKay shook his head, turning back to his console. "Never mind. Let's just keep this city alive." "Agreed. Now, about the power coupling in Sector 7. I've noticed a suboptimal distribution pattern that— For the love of one crisis at a time, Sheldon. Conduit Junction Level 3, same time. Leonard Hofstadter stood in a maintenance corridor that looked like it had been designed by an alien civilization with an aesthetic appreciation for both functionality and beauty. Ancient technology hummed around them, conduits glowing with a soft blue light that provided both illumination and an eerie sense of being inside a living organism. "Okay," Leonard said. "I'm studying a junction where multiple power conduits converged. Based on the energy flow patterns, this should be straightforward. We need to reroute power from these 3 auxiliary conduits into the primary shield distribution network." "How?" Howard asked, eyeing the ancient controls with the expression of an engineer who'd suddenly realized he was way out of his depth. "These don't have any labels, no instruction manual, no convenient reroute power here button." "The interface is intuitive," Leonard replied, surprising himself with his confidence. "Look at the flow patterns. The brighter conduits carry more power. The connections are color-coded by frequency. It's like elegant programming made physical. If we disconnect here," he pointed, "and reconnect there, the system should automatically balance the load." Ronan, who'd been silently observing, spoke up. "You sure?" "No, but it's the most logical approach given the—" "I'm touching it," Howard announced, reaching for a conduit. "Howard, no!" Leonard lunged forward, but too late. Howard's fingers made contact with the power conduit. For a terrifying moment, nothing happened. Then the conduit pulsed, a ripple of light running through the network, and the auxiliary power flows shifted exactly as Leonard had predicted. "Huh," Howard said, looking at his hand. "I didn't die." "That was," Leonard started. "Unbelievably stupid," Ronan finished, though his tone carried a hint of grudging respect. "But it worked." "I have excellent instincts about technology," Howard said, his confidence returning. "It's like I told you, I'm an engineer. I understand mechanical systems, or even alien ones. You designed a space toilet, Howard. A highly advanced space toilet that solved complex fluid dynamics problems in zero gravity. Do you know how hard it is to—" Another explosion rocked the city. The conduit junction flickered, power flows destabilizing. "The shield just took a major hit," Leonard said, watching the energy patterns shift. "We need to compensate. Ronan, can you—" But Ronan was already moving, his large hands surprisingly deft as he manipulated ancient controls that had been designed for human-sized grips, but somehow accepted his warrior's precision. "Here?" "Yes. And Howard, disconnect that coupling." "Which coupling?" "The glowing one that's about to overload." "They're all glowing," Leonard pointed. "That one. The one that's glowing brighter and making a humming sound." Howard grabbed the coupling, yanked hard, and was thrown backward as residual energy discharged. He landed on his back, his hair standing on end, smoke rising from his jacket. "Howard!" Leonard rushed over. "Are you okay?" Howard sat up slowly, patting his chest. Did I wet myself again?" Ronan sniffed the air. "Yes." "Ronan," Leonard protested. He asked, "Can we focus on the fact that I just got electrocuted by alien technology?" "You're alive," Ronan observed. "That's better than most people who touch ancient systems wrong." That's supposed to make me feel better. The conduit junction stabilized, power flowing smoothly through the rerouted connections. Leonard checked the patterns again, watching as the energy distribution optimized itself through the ancient system's automated balancing protocols. It worked, Leonard said, relief flooding through him. We actually did it. We rerouted power to the shields. We did it, Howard asked, still sitting on the floor. I'm pretty sure I took the risk while you just pointed. You grabbed the wrong coupling. I had to correct. I was following your directions. Gentlemen, Ronan interrupted, his tone carrying warning. Something's coming. Leonard and Howard fell silent, suddenly aware that they were in an alien city under attack, and Ronan's instincts were probably significantly better than theirs. What's coming? Leonard whispered. Don't know, but... Ronan drew his energy pistol. It's big. Down the corridor, something moved, something large, mechanical, and definitely not friendly. Is that... Howard started. A security drone, Ronan confirmed. Ancient automated defense. Must have been triggered by the power fluctuations. The drone rounded the corner, a hovering construct of ancient technology, its surface bristling with what were definitely weapons, its sensors glowing with hostile intent. It thinks we're intruders, Leonard realized. We triggered security protocols when we rerouted power. Can you turn it off? Ronan asked, his weapon trained on the drone. I'm a theoretical physicist, not a... Leonard, Howard shrieked, do something smart. Leonard's mind raced through everything he knew about ancient technology, which was virtually nothing except what he'd observed in the last 20 minutes. The systems were intuitive, responsive to intention, designed for people with the ATA gene, but maybe. The systems respond to intention, Leonard said, stepping forward despite every survival instinct screaming at him to run. The gene lets people interface directly, but the underlying architecture is designed to interpret purpose. If I can just... He raised his hands, trying to project calm, non-threatening intention at the drone like he was some kind of ancient technology whisperer, which was completely insane, which would never work. The drone's weapons powered down, its hostile glow shifted to neutral blue. It hovered there, apparently waiting for further input. Did you just... Howard started. I have no idea what I just did, Leonard admitted, his hands still raised. But please don't make any sudden movements. Ronan lowered his weapon slightly. That was either very smart or very lucky. Can't it be both? The city shook again. The drone wobbled but maintained position. Leonard carefully lowered his hands, and the drone made a soft, acknowledging tone before floating back down the corridor from which it had emerged. Okay, Howard said, still on the floor. I officially vote we never touch anything again. Seconded, Leonard agreed. We still have work to do, Ronan reminded them, holstering his weapon. More conduits to reroute, less dying. Come on. As they moved deeper into the ancient city's infrastructure, Leonard couldn't help but think. If he survived this, he was never ever letting Sheldon build another quantum oscillator. Gate room, command balcony, same time. Raj Kuthrapali sat in what was probably the least safe place in the entire city. The gate room where the Wraith had first tried to send troops through, but somehow, with Taylor beside him, he felt oddly calm. So, Raj said, his ability to speak to this alien woman still delighting him, how long have you been fighting these Wraith things? All my life, Taylor replied, her eyes scanning the gate room below where Marines maintained defensive positions. My people have been culled by the Wraith for generations. We are food to them. Cattle. That's horrible. Yes, but we endure. We fight, and with the Atlanteans' help, we have hope of something more than mere survival. Another tremor shook the city. Taylor remained steady, her warrior's balance perfect. Raj grabbed the railing to avoid falling. "You're really brave," Raj observed. "I mean, I'm terrified. Have been since we got here, but you're just calm, like this is normal." "Fear is normal," Taylor said gently. "What matters is what you do despite the fear. You traveled across galaxies by accident. You could have hidden, could have refused to help. But instead, your friends are working to save this city. That is courage. I'm not doing anything. I'm just sitting here talking to you. You are providing companionship to someone who finds comfort in your presence. That is something." Raj felt his face flush. You find comfort in my presence. You are non-threatening and honest. These are rare qualities in warriors and scientists alike." She smiled. "And your inability to speak to women is endearing. It suggests vulnerability, which is another rare quality." "I'm vulnerable because I'm terrified," Raj admitted. "But also, and I know this sounds weird given the circumstances, I'm kind of having the best day of my life. Like, yes, aliens are trying to kill us. Yes, we might die. But I'm talking to a beautiful alien woman who actually listens to me and doesn't make me feel like a complete disaster. That's significant." Taylor's expression became thoughtful. "On my world, we have a saying, the storm reveals what calm conceals. You spend your life unable to speak to women, hiding your thoughts. The storm of danger removes that barrier. Perhaps you needed the crisis to reveal your true self." Raj paused, considering. "That's actually really profound, and also suggests I need to almost die more often, which seems counterproductive to long-term survival. Perhaps you simply need to remember that every moment contains the same choice: hide or be seen. The storm merely makes the choice more obvious." Before Raj could respond, alarms blared across the gate room. The Stargate, which had been dormant, suddenly activated, the event horizon exploding outward in its characteristic watery shimmer. "Incoming wormhole!" a Marine shouted. "Unscheduled off-world activation!" Taylor was on her feet instantly, her weapon drawn. "Wraith! They're trying to send troops through again!" But instead of Wraith, what emerged from the gate was a person, a human, staggering, wounded, carrying a data device. "Medical team!" someone shouted. The person collapsed. The gate shut down behind them. Taylor moved swiftly to the fallen figure, checking for life signs. She looked up at the medical team rushing in. "Still alive, barely. They're from one of our outposts." She retrieved the data device, activated it. Her expression changed as she read the information. "What is it?" Raj asked, joining her despite his fear. "Intelligence about the Wraith attack. They're not just trying to destroy Atlantis, they're trying to capture it. This bombardment is meant to weaken our shields enough for a boarding action. They want the city intact. Shouldn't we tell someone?" "Yes, stay here." Taylor sprinted toward the control room, moving with the speed of a warrior carrying vital information. Raj looked at the wounded person being carried to medical, at the Stargate that had just delivered a warning, at the city shaking around him. "Yeah," he said to himself, "this is definitely the weirdest day of my life. Also possibly the last, but mostly the weirdest." Control room. 8 minutes until projected shield failure. Colonel Shepard stood at the tactical display, watching F-302 fighter craft engage Wraith darts in a desperate holding action. The Wraith hive ship was positioning itself directly above Atlantis, its massive form blocking out a significant portion of the sky, visible through the city's sensors. "They're preparing for something big," Shepard observed. "That positioning is wrong for bombardment. They're getting ready to—" Taylor burst into the control room. "Colonel, the Wraith are planning a boarding action. The bombardment is meant to weaken shields enough for them to send troops directly through the gate or via dart deployment." "Great. Because our day wasn't exciting enough already, Shepard activated his comm. All teams, be advised. Wraith ground assault imminent. Prepare for close quarters combat. At the main console, McKay looked up from his work with Sheldon. We're not ready. The shields are holding better, but we still don't have enough power to repel a full assault. How much time do you need? Shepard asked. For what I want to do? About 6 hours. For what we can actually manage? I have no idea. Sheldon spoke up, his eyes still on his calculations. Dr. McKay, what if we reversed the polarity? Everyone stopped, stared at Sheldon. Did you seriously just say reverse the polarity? McKay asked. Yes, it's a valid scientific principle. If we reverse the harmonic resonance pattern, we could create a feedback pulse through the Stargate that would overload the Wraith Hive ship's sensors, McKay finished, his expression shifting from skepticism to consideration. The quantum entanglement between gates means energy can flow both ways. If we tune the shields to emit instead of absorb, we create a directed energy pulse that travels through any open wormhole directly to the Wraith ships, Sheldon concluded. Simple quantum mechanics. That is the opposite of simple. That's... McKay started typing frantically. That's completely insane and might actually work. Shepard, if we can dial the gate and time it with a shield pulse, we could disable the Hive ship long enough for us to evacuate? Counterattack? Shepard prompted. To not die. That's all I've got right now. I'll take it. How long to set this up? Sheldon and McKay looked at each other, rapid calculations passing between them. 4 minutes, they said in unison. Then do it. I'll have the gate room ready to dial on your mark. As the scientists worked, Shepard activated citywide comm. All personnel, this is Shepard. We're about to do something really stupid that will either save us or kill us faster. If you have any last-minute prayers, now would be the time. If not, just hold on and trust that our scientists know what they're doing, even though we let random physicists from Pasadena help, which should terrify everyone. Shepard out. McKay glanced at Sheldon. He's oddly calm about this. Military conditioning, useful for crisis management, detrimental to long-term anxiety regulation. Did you just psychoanalyze Shepard while setting up a quantum feedback weapon? Multitasking is not difficult. I really hate how much I'm starting to like you. The feeling is mutual. Now, shall we save this city, or would you prefer more emotional processing? McKay laughed, genuine, slightly hysterical laughter. Let's save the city. We can process emotions later, like normal scientists. Agreed. They returned to their work, two brilliant minds temporarily united by crisis, creating a solution that shouldn't work, but probably would because sometimes the universe rewarded audacity more than caution. Behind them, Shepard watched and hoped they were as smart as they thought they were, because in 3 minutes, they'd all find out. Atlantis control room, 90 seconds until shield collapse. The control room had descended into organized chaos. Dr. Rodney McKay stood at the primary console, hands moving across ancient controls with the desperate precision of someone who knew they were about to either save everyone or kill them all. Beside him, Sheldon Cooper monitored 3 separate data streams simultaneously, his face a mask of concentration that suggested he was treating this like a particularly challenging physics exam rather than a life-or-death crisis. Shield integrity at 18%, Colonel Samantha Carter reported from her station. Wraith Hive ship is charging weapons for what looks like a final bombardment. If they hit us now, then it won't matter because we'll already be implementing our solution, Sheldon interrupted. Dr. McKay, see the harmonic resonance is approaching optimal frequency. You'll need to initiate the gate dialing sequence in 47 seconds. I know when to dial, McKay shouted, his stress levels clearly approaching critical mass. I've been dialing Stargates since before you even knew they existed. Yes, but you've never dialed one with the specific intention of creating a quantum feedback pulse that travels through established wormhole connection to overload enemy sensor arrays. So technically, this is a novel experience for both of us. How are you so calm? I'm not calm. My heart rate is elevated, my cortisol levels are likely through the roof, and I'm experiencing significant anxiety. But panic serves no useful function, so I'm suppressing it through cognitive discipline. I hate you so much right now. Noted. 33 seconds until optimal resonance. Colonel John Shepard stood at the tactical display, watching the Wraith Hive ship position itself for the killing blow. Behind him, Taylor and Ronan had returned, having checked on the other team members and confirmed they were as ready as civilians could be for an impending alien assault. "John," Taylor said quietly, "if this doesn't work—" "It'll work," Shepard interrupted, trying to project more confidence than he felt. Two genius physicists, ancient technology, and complete desperation. That's our sweet spot. That's a terrible sweet spot, Ronan observed. Yeah, well, it's the only one we've got. McKay's hands hovered over the dialing controls, his eyes fixed on the countdown display Sheldon had created. Okay, so just to be absolutely clear on what we're about to do, we're going to dial the Wraith Hive ship directly. Yes, Sheldon confirmed. Establish a stable wormhole connection. Correct. And then pulse our shields at a frequency that will transmit quantum resonance energy through the wormhole. Precisely. Which will theoretically overload their sensors and disable their weapon systems. That is the hypothesis. But might also create a feedback loop that destroys our own gate and possibly vaporizes this entire section of the city. Sheldon paused. I calculated that risk at approximately 7.3%, well within acceptable parameters for a last resort solution. 7% chance we explode. Would you prefer a 100% chance we're destroyed by the Wraith? Fair point. Okay. Dialing. McKay entered the gate address the Atlantis team had compiled for the Hive ship's Stargate. Yes, the Wraith had adapted Stargates for their organic ships, because of course they had. The gate activated, the event horizon forming with its characteristic watery shimmer. Connection established, Carter reported. Wormhole stable, energy flow nominal. For now, McKay muttered. Sheldon, shield pulse ready? Affirmative, initiating in 3, 2, 1. Sheldon's finger hovered over the activation control. His hand, which had been completely steady throughout the entire crisis, suddenly trembled. Just slightly. Just enough for McKay to notice. Having second thoughts, McKay asked, his voice surprisingly gentle. No, just recognizing the magnitude of what we're about to do. This is either the greatest collaborative achievement of our careers, or we die spectacularly and no one ever knows we tried. Yeah, that thought had occurred to me too. Do it anyway. Sheldon pressed the control. For a moment, a horrible, stretched moment that felt like eternity compressed into seconds. Nothing happened. Then the shields pulsed. A visible wave of energy radiated from Atlantis, converging on the Stargate, funneling through the open wormhole like water through a pipe. The gate blazed with power levels it was never designed to handle, ancient technology straining under forces that violated several fundamental principles of physics. Energy transmission successful, Carter reported, her voice tight. The pulse is traveling through the wormhole. Impact on Hive ship in 3, 2. On the external sensors. The Wraith Hive ship suddenly lit up like a Christmas tree. Every sensor array, every weapons port, every biological and technological system on the massive vessel overloaded simultaneously. The ship spasmed. There was no other word for it. Its organic hull convulsing as quantum energy ripped through sensor networks that had evolved over thousands of years to be perfectly efficient, never prepared for being weaponized against themselves. "Direct hit," Shepard called out. "The hive ship it's dead in space. All weapons offline. They're drifting." "Close the gate," McKay ordered, "before the feedback." But Sheldon was faster. His hand had already hit the disconnect, the wormhole collapsing just as energy readings suggested things were about to go catastrophically wrong. The gate shut down, leaving only the normal blue glow of standby mode. Silence fell over the control room. Everyone stared at sensors showing the Wraith Hive ship, still intact, still massive, but completely disabled. Dead in space. Harmless. "Did that just work?" someone asked. McKay checked his readings, his expression cycling through disbelief, shock, and finally, wonder. "I think it did. I think we just weaponized a Stargate using theoretical quantum mechanics and disabled a Wraith Hive ship." "Of course we did," Sheldon said, adjusting his glasses with shaking hands. "The mathematics were sound. The physics were inevitable. Success was the only logical outcome." McKay turned to Sheldon, opened his mouth to respond, then closed it, then opened it again. "Sheldon, that was the most arrogant, egotistical, brilliant thing I've ever heard, and coming from me, that's saying something. Thank you. I think it was a compliment. Now," McKay activated ship-wide comm. "All hands, this is McKay. The immediate crisis is resolved. The Wraith Hive ship is disabled. We're safe, because I'm a genius. With help from," he glanced at Sheldon, "with help from another genius who I will grudgingly acknowledge contributed significantly to this victory." "Most gracious," Sheldon observed dryly. Shepard approached both scientists, his expression unreadable. Then, to everyone's surprise, he smiled. Genuine, relieved, exhausted. "Gentlemen, that was either the stupidest or smartest thing I've ever seen, possibly both. Thank you for not killing us." "You're welcome," they said in unison. "Now," Shepard turned to the rest of the control room. "Someone explain to me how we're going to deal with a disabled hive ship full of very angry wraith floating above our city." "Oh," McKay said. "Right. That. I hadn't thought that far ahead." "Typical," Sheldon muttered. "Conduit Junction Level 3, same time." Leonard Hofstadter, Howard Wolowitz, and Ronan Dex felt the city-wide shudder as the shield pulse transmitted through the gate. The lights flickered, power flows shifted, and for a terrifying moment Leonard thought their jury-rigged rerouting was about to fail catastrophically. Then everything stabilized. The emergency alarms stopped. The red lighting shifted to normal. And through the comm system, they heard McKay's announcement. "Did he just say we're safe?" Howard asked, still sitting on the floor where he'd been since his last electrical mishap. "Sounds like it," Leonard confirmed, checking the power flows one more time. "The shield stress is gone. Everything's normalizing. I think we actually survived." "Leonard," Howard said seriously, "I am never, ever letting Sheldon build anything again. Ever. Even if he promises it's safe. Even if he shows me equations. Never." "Agreed. Completely. Enthusiastically agreed." Ronan holstered his weapon, the tension leaving his massive frame. "You two did good work. For scientists." "For scientists?" Leonard repeated. "What's that supposed to mean?" "Most scientists I know can't fix anything. They just talk about fixing things. You actually fixed things. That's..." Ronan paused as if the next word was physically difficult. "Respectable." Howard perked up. "Did you just compliment us?" "Don't make me take it back." No, we're good." "We'll take it." "Leonard, Ronan respects us. This is the best day." "Howard, you've been electrocuted twice and wet yourself. Your standards for best day are concerningly low. But I'm alive and respected by a space warrior. That's something. Leonard couldn't argue with that logic. They gathered their tools, most of which were improvised from ancient technology they barely understood, and headed back toward the control room. As they walked through Atlantis's corridors, Leonard allowed himself a moment of reflection. They'd traveled to another galaxy, survived a Wraith siege, helped save an entire city, and somehow managed not to die despite being completely unqualified for any of it. "You know," Leonard said to Howard, "when Sheldon suggested we test his quantum oscillator at 2 a.m., I really should have said no." "Yeah," Howard agreed. "But then we wouldn't have this amazing story, which no one will ever believe. We could bring back proof, some ancient technology, or—" "Shepard would never let us. Military classified, top secret. We'll go home with nothing but memories and PTSD. Still worth it," Howard considered. "Ask me again when I'm wearing clean pants." Gate room, reunion, the Big Bang. Theory Gang reunited in the gate room, where the Stargate stood dormant and harmless, no longer a conduit for quantum destruction. Sheldon and McKay descended from the control room, still arguing about credit allocation. Leonard and Howard arrived with Ronan, looking tired but alive, and Raj emerged from his station with Taylor, still talking. Somehow, miraculously, still able to speak to the alien woman without his selective mutism interfering. "And that's why I think the Wraith are obviously a metaphor for social anxiety," Raj was saying. "They feed on life force, which is basically feeding on social energy, and, oh, hey guys, we're alive." "Barely," Leonard replied. "Howard got electrocuted, twice. I saved the city, twice. You grabbed the wrong conduit, twice. Details." Sheldon approached his friends with the expression of someone who just completed a satisfactory experiment. "Gentlemen, I trust you performed adequately in your assigned tasks?" "Adequately," Leonard repeated. "Sheldon, we rerouted an alien power grid using technology we don't understand while the city was under attack." "Yes, that's what I said. Adequately. Had you performed exceptionally, there would have been no electrical mishaps or pants-wetting incidents." "Sheldon." "However," Sheldon continued, cutting off Leonard's protest, "I will acknowledge that your contribution was non-zero and potentially significant to our overall survival." "Well done," Leonard blinked. Did you just compliment us?" "I stated facts. Any emotional interpretation is your own projection." McKay watched this interaction with fascination. "Are you all like this? Because if so, I'm amazed you've survived this long without killing each other." "We have a system," Howard explained. "Sheldon is insufferable," Leonard complains. "Raj provides emotional support, and I make everything worse with inappropriate comments. It works. That's the worst system I've ever heard. And yet, here we are, having just saved your city." McKay opened his mouth to argue, then closed it. "Fair point." Elizabeth Weir descended from the control room, her diplomatic composure intact despite the past hours of crisis. "Gentlemen, I don't have words adequate to thank you for what you've done. You arrived in the middle of a siege, could have hidden and hoped for survival, but instead you helped save this city and everyone in it." "It was nothing," Sheldon said dismissively. "Any competent physicist could have—" "No," Weir interrupted firmly. "It was everything, and we won't forget it. Now," she became businesslike, "we need to send you home. The gate is still functional, and we have the Earth address. You'll be returned to the moment you left, more or less. The SGC will handle any cleanup and ensure your memories are properly—" "Properly what?" Leonard asked suspiciously. "Erased? Altered? Classified," Weir replied with an apologetic smile. "But I can promise you'll be safe and cared for." You have my word." The four physicists exchanged glances. They'd been through an impossible adventure, seen an alien city, helped fight hostile aliens, and worked with technology beyond their comprehension. And now it would all disappear, classified and filed away in some government archive. "That's deeply unsatisfying from a narrative perspective," Sheldon observed. "Life often is," Shepard replied, joining the group. "But hey, you've got a hell of a story, even if no one believes you." "Can we at least take something?" Raj asked hopefully. "Some proof? A souvenir?" "Absolutely not," McKay said immediately. "Ancient technology is classified at the highest levels. You can't—" Shepard held up a hand. "Rodney, they saved the city. They deserve something." He pulled out a small data crystal. Ancient technology, but inert, its data long since corrupted. Useless to Atlantis, but proof to those who knew what to look for that it wasn't of Earth origin. "Here," Shepard said, handing it to Leonard. "Technically, this is a paperweight. Practically, it's proof you were here. Don't show it to anyone who matters. Don't try to study it. It doesn't work anymore, but it's yours. A thank you from Atlantis." Leonard took the crystal, its surface warm to the touch, its structure unlike anything human technology could produce. "Thank you." "No, thank you. Now." Shepard gestured to the gate. "Let's get you home before something else goes wrong. Because in this city, something always goes wrong." The gate began dialing, the chevrons locking with their characteristic heavy clunking sound. The event horizon formed, that beautiful, terrifying portal between worlds. "Wait," Raj said suddenly. "Taylor, will we?" Taylor smiled gently. "Perhaps our paths will cross again, Rajesh. The universe is large, but it has a way of bringing people together when they're meant to meet." That's really beautiful. Can I hug you?" "Of course." They embraced, physicist and alien warrior, an unlikely friendship formed in crisis. When they separated, Raj's eyes were wet. "I'll miss you," he said. "And you. May your travels be safe." McKay approached Sheldon, extending his hand. "Dr. Cooper, you're insufferable, arrogant, socially inept, and possibly the smartest person I've ever met who isn't me. It's been—" He paused, searching for the right word. "Tolerable working with you. Dr. McKay, you're anxious, egotistical, prone to emotional outbursts, and surprisingly competent despite these flaws. I found our collaboration acceptably productive." They shook hands, two brilliant minds, briefly united by crisis, now parting with the mutual respect of people who understood each other despite themselves. "All right," Shepard said. "Gates open. Time to go." The four physicists approached the event horizon, looking back one last time at the alien city they'd helped save, the people they'd met, the impossible adventure they'd survived. "This really happened, right?" Howard asked. "We're not having a group hallucination brought on by carbon monoxide poisoning in our lab?" "It happened," Leonard confirmed. "We saved Atlantis. We fought aliens. We worked with ancient technology. It all happened." "Good, because I need therapy for this, and I want to make sure it's for real trauma, not imagined trauma." "Howard, I'm going through the gate now, before I overthink this." Howard stepped through first, disappearing into the event horizon. Raj followed, giving Taylor one last wave. Leonard went next, clutching the data crystal. Sheldon paused at the threshold, turning back to McKay. "Dr. McKay, your work is sloppy but adequately pragmatic for emergency scenarios. Continue striving for true competence. Perhaps one day you'll achieve it." "Get out of my galaxy, Sheldon." "Gladly. Your galaxy has terrible hospitality. The accommodations are substandard, and the entertainment, being attacked by aliens, is repetitive and unimaginative." "Sheldon, Leonard's voice echoed from the wormhole. Coming. Sheldon stepped through the gate, disappearing in a flash of light. The event horizon collapsed. The gate shut down. Atlantis was once again alone in the Pegasus galaxy. McKay stared at the inactive gate, then turned to Shepard. I'm not sure if that was the worst or best thing that's ever happened to me. With you, Rodney, it's usually both. Caltech Physics Lab, exactly when they left. The four physicists tumbled back into their lab, the quantum oscillator still humming, still radiating the strange energy that had sent them to another galaxy. Leonard immediately lunged for the power switch, shutting it down before it could cause any more interdimensional incidents. Is everyone okay? Leonard asked, checking each of his friends. I'm alive, Howard confirmed. Traumatized, but alive. Also, I really need new pants. You wet yourself in another galaxy, Raj observed. That's actually kind of impressive. Shut up. Sheldon was already at his laptop, pulling up their experiment data. Interesting. According to our local chronometer, no time has passed. We've been gone for hours subjectively, but in this timeline. It was instantaneous, Leonard finished. Time dilation from the gate travel, which means no one knows we were gone. Which means no one will believe us, Howard added. We saved an alien city, fought hostile aliens, and helped stop an intergalactic siege, and we can't tell anyone. We have this, Leonard said, pulling out the data crystal Shepard had given them. It sat in his palm, glowing faintly with internal light, its structure impossible by Earth standards. What is that? Raj asked. Proof. We were there. We did what we did. And even if no one else believes us, we know. They stood in their lab, looking at the crystal, at each other, at the quantum oscillator that had changed their lives for a few hours. We should destroy that thing, Howard said, pointing at the oscillator. Smash it, burn it, bury it in the desert. Agreed, Leonard said. Absolutely, Raj added. Sheldon considered. I suppose the potential for catastrophic interdimensional displacement does outweigh the scientific value of continuing experiments. Very well, we'll dismantle it. But first, he pulled out his phone. I need to document the configuration for future reference. Sheldon, no, all three friends said in unison. Fine, no documentation, but I am keeping the equations. For posterity. As long as posterity doesn't involve building another one, Leonard said firmly. They began dismantling the quantum oscillator, carefully, methodically, ensuring it could never again tear holes in reality. Hours later, exhausted and finally processing what they'd experienced, they sat in their apartment. Leonard and Sheldon's apartment, the familiar surroundings suddenly seeming small and confined after walking through Atlantis's vast halls. Penny emerged from her apartment across the hall, knocking on their door. Hey, guys, movie night? Can't, Leonard said. We've had a long day. You built another thing that didn't work? Penny guessed. Actually, it worked perfectly. Too perfectly. We accidentally traveled to another galaxy, met aliens, saved a city from hostile aliens, worked with advanced technology, so when Howard wet himself. Twice. Penny smiled indulgently. Sure, sweetie. Space aliens. Through your experiment. That's a good one. You guys really commit to these bits. It's not a... Leonard started, then gave up. Yeah, it's a bit. We're very committed. That's what I love about you nerds. Never stop being creative. Okay, I'll leave you to your long day. But next time you save the galaxy, let me know. I'll bring snacks. She left. The door closed. The four physicists sat in silence. No one will ever believe us, Howard said. No, Leonard agreed. We saved an entire city, Raj added. We worked with incredible technology. We met aliens. We did something meaningful. And it doesn't matter because we can't prove it. It matters, Sheldon said quietly. All three friends turned to look at him, surprised by the uncharacteristic philosophical observation. It matters because we know. Because we did it. Because for a few hours we were more than theoretical physicists in a lab. We were heroes. Accidental, unqualified, frequently terrified heroes. But heroes nonetheless. And no amount of disbelief can take that away from us. That's, Leonard started. Uncharacteristically profound, Howard finished. I have my moments. Now, Sheldon stood. I need sleep. We've been awake for what subjectively feels like 18 hours, and I have a lecture tomorrow on quantum field theory that will require optimal cognitive function. Good night. He retreated to his room. The other three sat in silence. Did Sheldon just have an emotional moment? Raj asked. I think he did, Leonard confirmed. Huh. Fighting aliens really does change people. They sat there in their apartment, holding on to the memory of an impossible adventure, knowing that whatever else happened in their lives, they'd always have this. The day they saved Atlantis. And no one could ever take that away, even if no one believed them.